One Piece has some really awesome fights.
We are trying to capture the spirit of the manga and give you the same spectacle.
Our actors really rose to the challenge. No one came from a point of, I think this is too difficult, because they want it to be as authentic as possible to their individual characters.
These are my friends. You don't get to mess with them.
Luffy being this happy-go-lucky character, using his stretchy ability to protect himself or his friends, kind of opens up a world where the whole thing's your playpen. So we designed moves so we could put the fun element into it. Him moving around a lot and stretching and curving his body.
Oh my gosh, I had to do a lot of stunt training. Being a rubber man has a lot of cool things. I learned how to use wires.
He took to it like a duck to water, and now this kid can fly.
I never experienced anything like that.
I hope the fans see the great attention to detail, transforming Zoro into live action.
Mackenyu is just amazing as a swordsman and brought a lot of his own style and his experience to those fights.
He has the 3-sword style, 2 swords in his hand, 1 in his mouth.
So that's where it goes.
I want to do my best to show what Zoro and I can do.
Nami is a pro at the bow staff. That's something that you see in the manga, and we wanted to bring more into the live action series. And God, the fight sequences are so fun to do. So I'm kind of like, throw them all in, I'll do them all.
She looks fantastic. I mean, the stunt double was very impressed, as was I.
I actually grew up doing karate, so it's a really fun thing to be able to do again.
For Usopp, we had a marksmanship training. You know, I had to learn how to use a slingshot. But even more so, Usopp spends a lot of the season overcoming his fears.
Maybe I should head back, make sure the mare's secure.
Jacob is very funny. He brings an energy like no one else can.
He's like a scaredy cat, but he's also not, because when it comes to his friends, he's like, okay, I guess I'll fight.
Playing Sanji, my only weapon is my feet.
He doesn't use his hands because he has to use that for cooking, so he exclusively uses his feet.
He definitely has to like kick people in the head. And so we were training pretty much 8 to 10 hours a day. And now my leg can go fully above my head and axe kick down.
We did a mixture of kicking styles with Sanji because, surprisingly enough, fighting with just your feet is a tough one to keep interesting.
So they wanted like capoeira influences, they wanted some breakdancing influences.
And Taz was really dedicated to this craft, and he spent hours and hours and hours practicing.
Good fighter.
This group's hard work and talent brought these characters to life in a way that is both familiar and new. All of them are phenomenal, and seeing them doing their own stunts and fighting, it's one of the most exciting parts of the show.
I can do more!
Hi, I'm Victor Scalise. And I'm Scott Ramsey. We're the visual effects team behind Buggy the Clown. In the One Piece universe, there's a lot of interesting characters. Buggy, to be honest, was one of my favorites.
Go on.
Buggy is such a cool character.
Buggy's obviously a clown.
He is the leader of the Buggy Pirates.
But he also has power where he can basically split his body into parts. You know, we used a bunch of different techniques for doing that. We had some blue screen where we had the real actor as an element. We had a digi-double, which is basically a full 3D CG version of the actor that we can animate to be able to split apart into pieces, because I don't think anybody really wanted us to chop Jeff up. We kind of offered it up saying, you mind losing an arm, you mind losing a leg, but we kind of opted for digital instead. One of the things that we wanted to really work with, okay, how's Buggy gonna separate? Because when he's in the manga, it's panels, it's a frame, it's 2 frames. So you're not seeing the separation, you're seeing the before and the after. But we have to show how he does it. One thing that we kind of started playing with that really started working well was almost like a little magnetism. The early tests where we were just separating him felt like you just sliced it and it looked like bad animation. So, you know, we ended up having to really kind of play around with how much magnetism. So when the arms come back together, you get that little hug and that little squeeze together.
What have you done to me? Got you down to size. One Piece.
will never be yours!
Little Buggy is when his entire body has been separated from him and captured. He is just now feet, hands, and a head. One of the coolest things we ever did with him is he knew his hands and feet and Little Buggy were gonna be all 3D. So he said, look, let me do the actions. And Vic was like, yeah, do that. We'll match move him and get him in there. And the best part about it is we didn't have to do a 3D head for that. We kind of just did it on the fly that day. Said, hey, pop the camera down low, Jeff, sit there, do your actions. Came together great. One of the other cool things about Little Buggy is it goes back to Buggy's character where he's pretty much defeated and has nothing left to throw at Luffy, yet he's still a wise ass.
You're just a sad, lonely little boy wearing another man's hat!
In creating Buggy, it really was an ensemble of all departments, you know, hair, makeup, stunts. You have to have every department come together and work with visual effects on this, because the visual effects can carry so much, but with the look of him, that really drove the whole thing.
Hi, I'm Amanda Ross McDonald, and I'm the hair and makeup designer for the Buggy the Clown character. When I first came across Buggy the Clown, I was really impressed with what a character he is. He's got this striking blue hair, he's got this massive big nose, so he's quite a crazy character. It took us quite a while to develop before we even had Jeff in hand. Part of this was coloring the hair, and the hair took us about 2 weeks to get the right color and tone. I remember looking one day at my colorist, and she was covered in blue because she had been coloring all this hair for 2 days. The process to get Jeff into Buggy every day is about a 2-hour process. It starts with us shaving him, then we have to put his hair back for his wig. It's putting the tattoos on, putting the nose on. We had individual eyelashes that we put on for him. And then it's the painting of the mouth, applying the wig, applying the bandana. One of the most challenging things of Buggy's makeup was the nose and making sure that it was seamless. Our collaboration with the prosthetics department on this was absolutely huge. Yaku and his team built the most amazing nose for Buggy.
My name is Yaku, and I'm the prosthetics designer for One Piece. For Buggy's nose, we went through quite a couple of design changes because we are changing the media in which you see this character. Matt and Steve were adamant that it has to just look like a clown's nose, but actually be Buggy's nose. So we did a version where his nose looks like a round foam nose, but it actually blends into his skin and has skin texture on it, which everyone was happy with.
Ah, would you look at that? Somebody escaped my tank of doom.
I'm Richard Bridgeland, and I'm the production designer. The important thing with all the sets is all of them have got a foundation story. Buggy's tent was really interesting because Buggy's obviously a clown, but he has a ship. So I figured that his tent was kind of his mobile HQ, and he would have made it out of the things that he had to hand. So what he had to hand were old sails. It's also what gave it the crazy design because the sails are all irregular shapes and they would have all been stitched together in a slightly anarchic way. So everything was sort of ship-based. Using that as kind of the foundation story, that then kind of designed itself fairly seamlessly.
One of the most satisfying parts of creating Buggy was just seeing Jeff love being in that character and also seeing people's reaction to him because he owned it, he embodied it.
Jeff was a trooper. Couldn't have asked for a better actor. He's the only person I saw who got a standing ovation from the extras after he got done with one scene and his big dramatic. He does this whole presentation. He's killing it. Everybody's blown away. And at the end, all the extras were kind of like,
No, stop clapping. No, stop. It's all wrong.
One of the cool things about One Piece is the variety. You know, it's not a space show where all you're doing is spaceships. We've got boats, we've got creatures, we've got a guy who stretches and is rubber. We've got a guy who breaks into a million pieces. We've got sword play. We've got kind of every type of effects you could come up with all in one piece.